Brock Lesnar is the new WWE champion. What a night, ladies and gentlemen, and I thought there can't be a better way to celebrate than with a little bit of the farmer's milk. Cheers. I'm so happy. People, I think it's time we celebrate Christmas on January 1st. And I believe WrestleMania needs to back off. We found a new favorite pay-per-view. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Maybe Veer didn't come, but I sure did. What a night. It's crazy. It was something that was impossible to predict. And to be honest, people, it's exactly what I needed in professional wrestling right now. This match wasn't even supposed to happen. Roman Reigns couldn't be at the pay-per-view, so WWE had to make some changes. Now, realistically, you don't expect someone like Brock Lesnar, who's not even supposed to be in the match, to win the championship, right? Wrong. Now, this title win obviously has its ups and downs. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but for the most part, I really feel sorry for Big E. He didn't really get an interesting WWE Championship title reign. It's absolutely crazy how in the WWE, whenever something terrible happens, WWE have to change plans and somehow make a better pay-per-view. And that's how we entered the Ultimate Farmer era. 2022 in the WWE kicked off with a bang, so let's talk about it. Other than that match, the pay-per-view was alright. It was just a night of good wrestling, but nothing really that memorable, nothing that is worth talking about in a couple of months or days. The show kicks off with the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles match, the New Day versus the Usos. And again, maybe Veer didn't come, but we got one of the most anticipated returns in professional wrestling history. Dean Ambrose is back, and I'm so excited. And as much as I didn't care about this match, because like I've said, there are not many Usos versus New Day matches I can take anymore, they did the best that they could. I mean, during the match, they got a lot of, this is awesome chants, which basically means they're doing a great job. I absolutely loved the attires, and it was an action-packed match. I could be wrong, but I think since we didn't get Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at the pay-per-view, every match was a bit longer and sometimes longer than you would like it to be. But like I've said, it was a night of good wrestling. We saw a couple of near falls. What's interesting though is that the Usos won the match with a 3D. Am I missing something, or that's the first time we ever saw the Usos doing that move? I didn't expect them to win with that, but they did and retained the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles. It's obviously one of the greatest tag team finishers of all time, but it was kinda random. But to be honest with you guys, I don't mind it one bit. I believe that should be a common thing with the Usos. Then we saw Drew McIntyre versus Madcap. Mark it on your calendars. Day 1 was the birth of Madcap Moss, the next face of the WWE. I believe he had way more potential with the name Riddick, but that's a story for another day. Now, honestly, guys, I was kinda shocked by the match. I'm not saying it was good. I'm not saying it was bad. It was just there. But what shocked me is the length of the match. This was a very long match, considering it's Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. I mean, we all know WWE have no plans for the guy. It's pretty obvious. What kinda pissed me off is that he kicked out of the Future Shock. It was once a finisher. And sometimes when someone like, Roman Reigns kicks out of a Future Shock, it's shocking. The commentators are shocked. But now, Riddick Moss is kicking out of the Future Shock, and it's not a big deal. So yeah, Drew McIntyre wins the match as expected, but I honestly thought this is going to be a 2-minute match at most, basically leading to his next challenger, Baron Corbin. And yeah, this rivalry is still happening. Drew McIntyre gave comments on the match, and he got attacked by Baron Corbin and Riddick Moss. And this was better than it should have been. I mean, that chair spot was brutal. I mean, I don't mind it. It was great. I loved it. It looked real. What I don't like is that, really, for this rivalry, Really? Let's be honest, you can have Drew McIntyre bringing back Jesus as his tag team partner, and people still wouldn't care. Then we saw Raw Tag Team Titles match. The Street Profits versus RK Bro. I did not like this match, mostly because of the Migos or whatever they're called. I get why WWE did it, but it did nothing for the match. It was just kinda annoying. Now, the match itself was alright, exactly what you would expect from this kind of match, but we did get a very memorable spot, which was actually even the finish of the match. I guess Randy was like, oh, so you guys are doing an RKO, so I got something better for you. I don't know if it already is, but this should be their tag team finisher. This looked really, really nice, and obviously they retained the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships, and all of them just celebrated because I guess this is just phenomenal. They're really happy to see the rappers. Then we saw Edge versus The Miz. So Edge brought back the Brood entrance, which was pretty awesome. It's kind of interesting though how WWE are trying to tell you that this version of Edge was the best. And it's still alive, like this is still a thing. Even though that version of Edge was never even that successful. That was basically the debut version of Edge. But I get it, I have an explanation, it looks cool. I wouldn't say this match was bad, but I felt like I was trying really hard to enjoy it, and I don't think I completely succeeded at that. Don't get me wrong, it was okay. It just didn't really have these Edge storytelling elements we saw in his previous matches against Seth Rollins. And I basically predicted this whole thing, except for Edge winning the match. So basically we saw Maurice interfering a couple of times, but then we saw the return of Beth Phoenix. And then we saw a live sex celebration on a paper, which was pretty nice. I made that up. Maurice leaves the arena, The Miz gets distracted and acts as if he saw The Undertaker. Spear, Edge wins, so I guess that was a pretty cool moment and exactly what we thought we're going to see. It's going to be Edge and Beth versus Miz and Maurice. Sounds like a decent Royal Rumble match to me. Then we saw the Raw Women's title match, Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. Another match that I wish was a lot more memorable than it was. So we saw the match. It was okay. It was basically like every other match we saw between the two. And even though I knew that Becky Lynch is going to retain the championship, if the plan is for Liv Morgan to eventually win it, that was the night in my opinion. Unless WWE have plans for Liv Morgan to win the Women's Royal Rumble match, which is very likely, then I get it, but if that's not the case, I guess that was a little disappointing because Becky Lynch didn't even have to cheat, so I guess this could be the end of the rivalry. The match was kinda long, and I'm not saying WWE made Liv Morgan look weak, I'm just saying this match was missing something. The finish was alright, Liv was going for Oblivion, but Becky catches her and does the manhandle slam, and she retains the Raw Women's Championship. So that's that. And finally, the WWE Championship Fatal 5-Way match. Brock versus Seth versus Bobby versus Kevin versus E. And we jump straight into the action. I absolutely loved this match. This match had a lot of action. Like every second something is happening. So there's no way you could get bored during this match. And while watching the match, I still didn't believe that Brock Lesnar could win. I mean, that's not in the plans. He's in a rivalry against Roman Reigns. It wouldn't make any sense for him to win. Well, Beast Mode activated. We saw an F5 after F5. I started to believe that Brock Lesnar could win, but then we see a spear from Bobby Lashley. We see a Hurt Lock, which was actually pretty long. Big E breaks it up. He's going for the big ending. Brock Lesnar reverses it, and we saw an F5. And 1, 2, 3. New WWE Champion Brock Lesnar. What a shocker. What's also interesting is that WWE are already kinda teasing Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, a match that we all wanna see, and we've been asking for this match for like years now, so finally we will see that match, and I believe it's gonna happen at Royal Rumble. But then again, I really feel sorry for Big E. This guy, I thought he's going to be a long-term WWE champion. It's a shame he was just a traditional champion that didn't really have any memorable moments. So as much as I love Brock Lesnar winning the championship, there are a couple of positives and also negatives. The positive thing is it was a great moment. I'm excited for Raw. And, you know, it's a big cliffhanger and we want to see what's gonna happen next. I mean, that wasn't supposed to happen, so now we gotta wait and see. Obviously, that's interesting. What I don't like is that he's in a rivalry against Roman Reigns. If we are going to get either of these men winning the Royal Rumble match, which is very possible, we are going to get the Undisputed Championship match at WrestleMania for both championships, and WWE will have one champion, and I'm not really into that idea. I know some people really like that idea. I'm not into it. I just feel like WWE would get really repetitive with the same champions over and over again. But let me know your thoughts about the pay-per-view in the comments below. Do you like the fact that Brock Lesnar is the new WWE champion? What's next for Big E? Are WWE merging the championships? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. The great one, peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.